Hi, good morning. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Well, we're going to talk about our what we've started calling our in vitro journey. But of course, it's not all about in vitro. But because we actually have definite information that we got from the clinic, we want to release that information and then talk about the possibilities that we're looking at. So what was the first thing? The first thing that was required was on the second day of the menstrual period of the woman, they would take a blood test and find out. That would be to ascertain that the woman involved is able to have a child, and that price was 30.
Yeah, first is...
So the first hit, as I remember, was something like 30,000.
Yeah, 30,000.
30,000 pesos.
10 to 30,000.
Oh, 10 to 30,000?
Yeah.
It wasn't definite?
Not definite.
30,000?
Not definite.
Right. So this is, I find this a little bit worrying. How can a simple blood test, what I would think of as a simple blood test, vary in price between 10 and 30,000? So we're not kind of thrilled at the moment with what we learned.
Yeah, because it says here summary of possible charges: screening test for hormone assay 4950, 17 OH 2100, semen analysis 1500, ultrasound 1350, and consultation is 1500.
I think we need to slow that down.
Okay.
I'm having difficulty understanding that.
And then additional screening test, anti-sperm 4,520 pesos.
Right, so let's try to make sense.
Yeah.
Let's try to make sense of what the sequence of action would
So
be.
the first is the screening test, which is the blood test for the woman
For
in
the
the
woman.
in the second day
And the
of
cost,
the period.
right, and the cost of that was
Around 10 to 30,000
10 to
between
30,000. Now, assuming that that is okay, they would go in and
To
they
the
would do a
IVF.
test
Yeah,
on me,
on you.
on the male. So they go in and they do a test on the male. Now, in my case, I've had, and this will come into our later discussions, I've had the vasectomy some years ago, so we're actually thinking that maybe a reversal of that might be the way to go. But assuming that we went for the IV procedure, then what we'd be doing is
That
going in
I think is the
and, sorry?
I think it's what they call that, T5, T3 for you, where they get the sperm.
I don't know what it's called, but obviously in my case they go prior to the site of the vasectomy, the cut, where they tied off the tube, and they take live sperm.
Yeah.
Hopefully they take live sperm from that site, and then they freeze that.
How much did the man said? It's around 80 to 125,000. Yeah, it's different.
That was for that procedure.
Yeah, for that procedure.
Okay. For getting the live sperm,
And
which
then,
obviously, if I don't see why it should be so much more expensive to get live sperm from one place than from the other. But we're actually reaffirming that the medical profession is a business and not just there to make us feel good.
yeah, so after that they're going to get the sperm cell and frozen it, and then that's the time that I'm going to do the IVF procedure, which is first is around the stimulation period, which is 1 to 10 days. Then the medications, the laboratory.
So the stimulation period is what? Doing what?
It's about the medications, the consultations, the laboratories, the ultrasound.
You have to slow down, honey, right?
So that's the time where
cost of medication, consultation,
and
laboratory, and ultrasound, more or less 90 to 120,000. Okay, so
but it depends on the dosage of the requirements. You know.
I guess that there's a greater or lesser cost depending on the medication that's needed. So after that?
And after that is the next procedure, which is the ovum pickup. What is ovum, Han?
Ovum. So I'm guessing that they're looking at going into the ovaries.
Yeah.
I'm no great a great expert on all of this.
Yeah, and then the estimate for that is 230,000 pesos, and the breakdown for that is the IBF ICS one.
Right. So what we're looking at, charges for ovum pickup procedure, which is called the OBA, as we all knew. All right. 230. Is that 230,000?
Yeah, 230,000.
Refer below to the breakdown. All right, here's the breakdown. The IVF ICS, all right, PHP, it says 140,000, less 10,000 if cash, or 5,000 if on a card. Okay, so the doctor's fee was 30,000 or more. Embryo freezing and extended culture 20,000. Refundable amount, case to case. Alright, and then OR medication and consumable 10,000, I guess, for hospital. Right, the embryo storage fee is 30,000. Discount on cash or straight credit card, so on so. Discounts of PHP, 10,000 on cash payment. Well, anyway. Charges for embryo transfer procedure. For fresh embryo transfer case,
50,
more or less 50,000 breakdown are as follows. So the procedure fee is 8,000. Is that 8,000?
Yeah, 8,000 and the
5,000.
8,000 and the professional fee is 5,000. The medications and consumables is 10 to 15,000 pesos. Plus 2 weeks take-home meds for frozen embryo transfer case, more or less 90,000. Breakdown as follow. Procedure fees, another is 8,000 pesos. Towing, what is towing, huh? Excuse me.
Thawing. The thawing fee is 25,000 pesos. Okay. Assisted hatching, 10,000 pesos. I guess they put the eggs under a chicken and that gets hatched. Just a little joke for a moment to lighten things up. Okay, so let me see. Meds and consumables, 10,000 to 15,000 plus 2 weeks take-home meds. Now, for as much as I've learned, and I haven't done any research on it at all, for as much as I think they take the eggs, which they're calling embryos, they take those, they've got those frozen, and then they've got the sperm frozen, and they put the two together. Now, one thing that I do know is that they do a blitz, and they'll take 3, 4 or 5 of the embryos, and they'll fertilize them with the sperm, which is why you get these multiple births on the IVF situation. So we could be walking out there with 2 babies on each arm. I personally will hope that that's not the case. So
the IVF procedure approximate cost of 400 to 450,000, more or less.
More or less. The man's, so I said, so is it possible that we could be looking at 500,000 here? And he said, I guess you could, but he said, I'm confident that it will come out under 400,000.
Yeah.
Now, when we talked about this before, we're trying to think in terms of pesos. Trying to think in terms of pesos instead of dollars. You all have calculators, and you can work it out yourself. But anyway, we had thought that we would require 300,000, didn't we, Beth?
Yeah, because I researched it, I call it also there before, and then also in their account, in their what do you call it, website, and some of the women there that commenting, their usually cost around for them is 250,000. Other women cost 300,000 pesos, and they got twins. So, but it depends on the case-to-case basis, because it depends on the healthy of the woman and also the man.
Right. So there's obviously big variations in the price. You've got to go in with a lot more money than you think. Now, when we said before about what we'd found out about researchers in a case in Manila, we worked out the cost of the whole thing. We didn't just say, oh well, the in vitro procedure is 200,000 or 200,050, because we know just how expensive everything gets when you just need to get things done, like we've just taken Desiree to Cebu, and everything costs a great deal. We don't have time to look for the right jeepney and try to get a wheelchair onto a jeepney, so everywhere is taxi. Now, if you're down there and you're in a strange place and you don't know where the hell anything is, the easiest way to get from A to B is to get in a taxi and show him the address, and that's what we would be doing. Plus, we need to stay in a hotel. We're not going to stay in a shithole of a place while we're there. We're going to stay in a reasonable hotel. So shopping around for a hostel or something like that is not on the cards. All right. But then again, we now have friends in several friends in the Manila area, and quite possibly we could impose on them to put us up for a few nights. Actually, we've been invited to visit, so we wouldn't be imposing on them. So that would be the situation there, is that some of the expenses that we thought we would be hit with will not be there, because we'll be staying in someone's home, and we'll be combining the procedure with a social stay. Right, now that out of the way, and talking about the IVF, there's another alternative, and that is a reversal of the vasectomy. Now, this is nowadays this is a viable proposition. At one time, it would have been. She's laughing because she's embarrassed because I had the snip. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. I would have been totally open about this.
I'm open about that.
Years ago, but she said no, don't.
You didn't do that.
Don't. In fact, we weren't allowed to say reversal. She said, no, don't call it that. Call it that thing.
I didn't say that.
Yes,
One.
you did.
Yeah,
Honey, I actually need that ear. Can you?
Yeah.
Not?
So by next month, we're going to start the process on my second day to check about my healthy. If I'm capable.
Right. Now, my thought on this is that we could go to Dr. C, and we could just go and have a test at one of the surgical, I don't know what they call them here, but where they do all kinds of tests.
It depends. We should go to the one that is designated for that case. Dr. C is only for the internal medicine.
He would recommend whether it was possible. That's all I'm saying now.
Okay.
Now, if you hear us and we seem to be arguing about this, we are. We're having this conversation online so that whoever is also thinking about doing this is going to see exactly the kind of discussion that you would have. This is discussion between man and wife, and it's not like we're talking about who does what in the bedroom. It's a clinical discussion. Now, my point is that if we went for the reversal, which we could do in Manila, then the whole thing about paying 30,000 to have this test done at this particular clinic becomes optional. That's why I said Dr. C. My point about going to a doctor is that we could just put the simple question to a qualified medical practitioner: can we go and have this test done in, say, Tagbilaran for 5 or 10,000 pesos? That's my point. We don't have 30 or 35 or whatever they decide to blank check us on by going to this place here. I think it seemed expensive, was my view on it. I thought it was expensive. Now the point I'm trying to make is, if we went to Dr. C
My cough is so bad now.
Beth went on an all-night prayer thing to vigil, and she went to another island, which turned out to be not just that little 5-minute hop to the other next island, turned out to be an hour and a half in an open boat. So I think she's caught a cough and a cold. So that's what you're hearing, and we know about it.
Yeah. So what's Han? What's?
Well,
Yeah,
for heaven's sake, don't say so. Like, comment, and subscribe. We're not finished.
So we're going to start our journey. We're going to email a doctor because we already emailed the doctor in Manila about the case of Terence.
About the reversal.
About that thing.
That's the thing. The thing is, like I was saying, that if we talked about this even 10 years ago, it would be totally unavailable in the Philippines. But not only is it now available in the Philippines, but the technology, the techniques have advanced so greatly that the level of success, ratio of success is hugely different now. That's why I think it's an option that we should think about.
Yeah, so we're going to email that doctor because we also consider that his age, and whatever that doctor recommended
Are we allowed to talk about my age now?
Come on, let me finish. And whatever the doctor said, then we just followed, and then I also do what is the best, what is the most, what do you call that? Most,
I don't know, honey. You were talking.
Most
remember?
appropriate, and the percentage is higher, and we're going on that procedure.
Right, now there's something that I am already prepared for, which I think that maybe you're not. If you're going to talk to a doctor and listen to the numbers, he's going to say, what's the age? And I'm going to say 77. And he's going to say, are you insane? My favourite. And so they're going to talk about percentages and statistics. And at that point, are we going to listen to statistics? This is my view on it, is that I think that we should go for the reversal, and then we can still go for the IVF if that doesn't prove to be successful. I said something funny.
Yeah, which is what the doctor said, which is we're going to follow,
No, we're not. Actually, no, we're not.
Oh.
Because if he says, I don't think that there's a great percentage of success, I don't think that the success rate is going to be that great with a man over 70, we're going to accept that? I don't think so. Wasn't that funny? Did that make you all level? Why are you laughing?
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't want to argue in the video,
Why not? Why not? It's real life.
We have different stand about it, so we're going to settle it.
Well, all right, let's settle it now. What do you think then that we should go to the doctor, and if he says the success rate for someone over 70 would be rather low,
I think
would you, let me finish, would you then say, okay, let's not do that?
I think after
just answer my question.
This is my answer. It depends on the some test that is being conducted to you, right? They conducted you some test, some laboratory, and by that they're going to find out before they're going to say the possible rate, and then.
Well, what you think that there's some risk then?
Yeah. So whatever the doctor said, because we don't want to take the health, So.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the doctor said, we're going to follow whether we go to the tank for him or the Invitro. So it's been a long process. It's been a long journey. We have some fears, we have some worries, but we surrender to him.
Well, I might be limping for a couple of weeks, whatever happens, don't you think?
Yeah. So that's our.
At
first,
with tears
I admit, at first we don't. I'm hesitant to tell about that. About him, about the thing. But there's no secret about it. From the very beginning, I know his condition. I know that, and I know what happened. I know what
My condition?
about that thing. I know from the very
That
beginning,
thing.
you know.
That
So there's no issue about that, about that thing to us, you know. So we just enjoy life, and we know that if God give us the angels that we're hoping for, He will give, you know.
One way or the other, and everybody that's watching this now will have this same discussion, right? We already read out a letter from a friend, a subscriber, and he said he is also greatly senior, and he said we had the who's going to die first conversation. Well, when you're 40 plus, in our case even greater age difference, then everybody will assume that the old guy is going to die first. And one of the things that persuaded our friend to have a child, which he was not, he was adamant when he met his wife to be, that he was not going to have a child. She was also adamant that she was going to have a child, and they thought, well, we'll just be friends. And of course, just by being friends and talking and sharing stuff, they fell in love, and then they had now it became a problem. Before, it wasn't a problem. So they got the problem. They have the, well, what happens? You're going to die. You're probably going. Cut the long story short. The wife said, or the then girlfriend said, what will happen is that when you die, if you die, I will be left all alone. And that hits on very much on the Filipino culture, the Filipina mindset that a child is not a burden, a child is a blessing.
Yeah.
Right.
You
see?
Yeah, it's the same on me, you know. I read some comments, you know, and saying that you will believe alone with the responsibility when your husband died.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a responsibility. It's a blessing to me when Terence gone to heaven or wherever he goes.
Oh, well,
You know?
still,
Wherever he goes,
the jury's still
it's
out
a
on
blessing
that
to
one.
me to have someone with me, you know. And I know that Terence will watching over us. You know, if he is the one or not me, you know. And just to answer questions to other people says that why choosing an older one rather than younger one, there is no definite that the younger one will not leave you or will not betray you. The important is in a relationship is both of you understand there's a respect, there's a love, because age is just a number. Some people will laugh on it, but then we found our destiny. We found each other, and we're working every day for our relationship, and we promised, we committed, and yes, to have a child, to have an angel in our life will be the one to complete our relationship. And if God give that, we'll be more happier. And if it didn't grant, we'll continue our life, you know, because we know that everything happens for a reason. Yeah, so that's our little update before we go to church. So that's our little update before we go to church. So please like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. We're open about it, and we hope that other couples who watching our videos who have the same situations as we are will continue. And
well, we hope that the information that we're giving
the information
is a help. Before we got this information, we actually it was all questions. Well, what's it going to cost, and what do they do, and how do they do this? And so we hope that this has given you some options. And by including you in the discussions that we have, they're not arguments, because we're going to agree. We're going to actually respect each other, which we always, and that's what we're hoping will have helped you. You will have these discussions. You will disagree. You will have to work through the lack of agreement until it reaches agreement, because it's necessary, and you need to be in a happy state in order to be able to conceive. Now, supposing we go for the in vitro, what?
It's too late now.
It's too late.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens.
Yeah,
She's
so
just dying to say,
it's 8:30 now.
I got my Sunday driving
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, so again, thank you and continue support our journey. It's not easy. It's not easy journey. It's involved effort, emotional stress. But we surrender everything to heaven. So please like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Happy Sunday. God bless.